You thought that we were done with the What If Fathers Failed page. We're not. I had some more insights that I wanted to share with you. Let's look at this page one more time, and then I promise we are done. I have 4 points, and I'm going to try and get through them as fast as we possibly can. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to share with you some things that caught my attention while I was editing the video, and I kind of glossed over these or didn't really see them when I was first looking over this page. Number 1. So in the first section of this page, a man who fails is not a failure section, he says, God allows us to fail when we try to succeed in our own strength. This is one of those key core teachings that I think is very important for us to highlight and discuss. So this goes back to the 3 reasons why you might have consequences, a hard time, whatever. And that's one of the core teachings of IBLP is that your consequences, whether it be tragedy in your life, a hardship, a tough time, whatever, is due to you sinning and it's God's consequences. You are living outside of God's perfect will. So he is giving you consequences to draw you back to him. And then the third one is God allows bad things happen, failures, struggles, because he wants to have the glory of getting you through it. And that's where the failing when you are doing things in your own strength, right? Well, you didn't rely on God enough. You didn't pray enough. This might not be God's will. You're trying to do it on your own. You haven't asked God's help. And if you did ask for God's help, he maybe didn't come and help you. It's not God's fault that you're struggling. It's yours because you're doing it in your own strength. Despite everything that you thought you were doing was doing it according to God's plan and with him in mind, and you weren't being selfish. Like somebody else is going to sit there and tell you, well, you did it in your own strength. They're going to judge you. Somebody who's not making the decision, someone who's not living it, is going to look at you and say, well, this is why you're struggling. So that leads to a lot of judgment of people's struggles within the cult. It goes back to Bill Gothard having a reason to blame it on you if you are not succeeding the way he thinks you should, or other members of the cult can do the same. On this whole section of scars and the temple, sin leads to scars and then it can be turned into glory. Gothard says disobedience always results in loss and regret. Loss and regret are just part of normal human existence. It doesn't always have to be tied to disobedience. So if you are failing, then you're being disobedient. I think it's very important for us to highlight this. This is one of those really important aspects of why this was a cult and how these teachings were used to manipulate and control the members of this cult. If you are failing, if you are having difficulty, a lot of the members and leaders of IBLP would say that it should be easy if you are operating within God's will, right? You shouldn't come up with a lot of pushback and things should just go easy. But that's a complete contradiction to another thing that they say. I was talking about the 3 reasons that things can go wrong, and the one being for God's glory. So if it can be both, like you could be in God's will, but still experiencing a hard time, then it's for God's glory. But also it could be because you're disobedient. So how do you know which one it is? It's almost like you have to go through a checklist of things to see, am I doing this? Am I doing that? Did I do this? Did I do that? Was this decision that led to this? Is it because I did this or that? So you're in this constant state of anxiety that your decisions have brought upon you struggles that you're having a hard time dealing with. You're always questioning whether you're being disobedient or living outside of God's will. So this is where the grift is the grift that keeps on grifting, man. If you are experiencing hardship, it could be because you're disobedient. And what's a best way to become more obedient is to learn more from Bill Gothard and IBLP. So you need to go to this conference. You need to go to that conference. You need to read this book. You need to do this devotion. Never ending. If you constantly have your people questioning whether they're doing the right thing, you can always feed them more stuff to spend money on so you can continue your grift. Let me know what your thoughts are on these 2 points that I completely missed in the first reading of the page. And do you think that these are 2 of the main teachings that cause people to question themselves. And it also sets them up to be susceptible to the grift. 2 last points, and then we are really done with this page. I promise. We are wrapping up the What If a Father Has Already Failed page from IBLP's Men's Manual, and we are discussing 4 main points of teachings that I found in this page that I think link to some of the most harmful teachings and the ones that lead people to be sucked in more to this cult and to spend more money. You know, the grift that keeps on grifting. Let's get into this and let's continue on. This one is very interesting, and I don't know if it's a typo or what exactly he was trying to say here, but I didn't catch it the first time, and I was like, that's weird. That's a weird way to say that. What exactly is he trying to say? You ready? This is in the dreams of the father can be fulfilled through the sons and daughters part. Don't even get me started on that. If you haven't seen my opinion on that, go back a couple of videos and anyway, moving on. So in this, he was talking about fathers not focusing on their retirement because it's focusing on temporal things. And so he says, if, for example, a father is overly concerned about retirement, his sons may be slothful. Remember that word, slothful, on the basis that if retirement is so important, he will beat his father to it. Now tell me this, how exactly is a slothful son going to beat his father to retirement? How does that even equate here? How does that fit in this conversation? How does a slothful person achieve more than their parents quicker? I don't understand this. Does anybody have any idea what Bill Gothard is trying to say here? Nonsensical. Weird way to say that, right? How does that even make sense? Doesn't to me. Maybe somebody can enlighten me. Last point, and then we are really done with this page. I promise. I'm not going back to it. If I miss something else, we'll just address it another day at another time. Promise we're done with this page after this point. In the same section of the dreams of the father, he says, when sons and daughters adopt their father's God-given goals, the father can provide much needed encouragement, resources, and counsel for these goals. So is this where he gets that the daughter has to follow the father's goals for her life? But it also says sons. And so this is confusing to me. So he can only encourage and give resources and counsel if it's within what he believes his sons or daughters should do. You can't encourage your kid if it's not something outside of that, and only your goals as a parent are acceptable because your children are not their own people with their own relationship with God and ability to get guidance from him outside of you. It's like he almost didn't think that children were real people and that they could not exist outside of their parents' influence. Tell me where that's in the Bible. Did I miss it when I read it? I don't remember anything about that. Sometimes I just don't even know what to say to these things because they're so absolutely out of pocket. Okay, we had the 4 points. We are done with this page. If you missed the previous video, go back and watch it. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Parents can only encourage you if you're doing what they think you should do. And also, apparently, you can be slothful and achieve retirement quicker than your parent. What? And if you're not familiar with the term slothful, sloths are really slow and they're not very motivated. They don't accomplish things quick. So how exactly does yeah. Anyway, been there, done that, said that already. Let me know what your thoughts are because that blew my mind when I was editing and I realized that and I was like, slothful? How does that work? Anyway, with that, I will end this episode. If somebody has not told you today or ever, I am proud of you.